it doesn't matter if you're innocent in this. You still are representing a company that fucked up, and you have to wear that mantle or leave. And I understand it's just like, don't go after these people. Yeah, don't go after these people. But you have to understand there is blame for everybody that everybody's just going to have to eat because they all work for the same company. That's why you have to tighten up your that's why it's just like, for a while I was like, yes, you can blame the upper Destiny executives. They need to go. I agree. But there reaches a point where I'm looking at the people that are still there and I'm like, so why are you still here? What are you still doing here? And this is something that just came to my mind. It really doesn't matter if Byf is going to sit here and say, please think of the developers. Well, I'm not really going to think about the developer because over the last decade, all of these developers have told me I'm a person. I have ideals. I am a person. So no, I really don't give a about a lot of these people because they think I'm too. In today's video, we review one of MyNameisByf's most recent videos covering the Marathon Art Theft, where I start to let loose about my true feelings of Bungie as a whole. I think what's most disappointing to me is, as someone who started playing Destiny 2 before Beyond Light came out, I've been beholden to a great game slowly degrading itself to less and less of a good product, to now no longer wanting to touch the game in any fashion. Now you have a company with the looming threat of being shut down by Sony, and sadly, with how poor the company as a whole has been acting, I sadly don't care. I think I also have some major frustration when it comes to Byf when he is narrating this video, mostly because I dislike how unreal I feel like he is acting. I get that he's obviously stressed out about the longevity, but if I could be frank, Byf, take a look at the writing on the wall. I normally try to be optimistic, but this company, it's royally over. Take away the 3 to 5 counts of art theft, the current lawsuit over the potential theft of Destiny's OG story, but along with that, horrible management. Deleting entire storylines from their database and getting much worse player relations and story, well, don't get me started. Either way, I'm going to let my reactions for this video speak for itself. With all that out of the way, please make sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. I mean, like, I did tell him I was going to talk about it, but like, it's just in the interest if so. I don't hate the guy. I definitely dislike some of his attitude towards some of this, because I feel like my major problem is he tries to hold this opinion of, guys, we just have to hope that everything's going to be okay. But I feel like with the attitude that I can hear in his voice sometimes, it's just like the attitude of, I know everything is fucked, but please stop telling me it's fucked because I really don't want it to be fucked, because this is partially my livelihood right here. And if it's fucked, I'm kind of fucked too. And it's just like, I get that, like, it really sucks to hear, but you should but like when everything was happening with Bungie during like Lightfall, this man should have been searching to make new content with a different game, because like that was the canary in the coal mine for a lot of people, myself included, that once Final Shape was over, a lot of people should probably step away. And a lot of people did step away. I stepped away. Temp stepped away. All of our friends that like have been playing Destiny since the open beta of Destiny 1, all of them decided that the end of Destiny was with the most recent expansion. And you've stepped away, and Malice has stepped away, and Dom has stepped away, and I doubt that you'll ever go back. Yeah, I saw Dado and Aztecross push for variety. Well, it's probably because they see the canary in the coal mine, and they're like, we're not going to get caught with our pants down.
But you constantly see Aztecross, especially play Warframe, and I think seeing people like the only people I've noticed that are really doubling down on Destiny are like Mactix and Byf, and that's about it, actually. Oh, and Swetsicle.
Aren't they? Well, I mean, like, I know that Byf is because he's the lore guy. Even though he said, oh, I'm going to try doing some lore for some other stuff. And that didn't really last very long, in my personal opinion. I feel like he jumped right back into Destiny the moment that he felt like it was feasible for him. Again, don't hate the guy. Don't hate the guy. I just think that he just, like, is really, really, like, begging to not be pushed out the door when it comes to Destiny. I think he really just doesn't want Destiny to go away.
Destiny... If it wasn't for Bungie, Destiny would probably be great.
I agree.
It's indisputable one-to-one copies of all sorts of different assets and various different decals.
And he's showing off everything that we just showed off, chat.
Have been plastered all over the game and its surfaces. I mean, it's crazy how much has been stolen. They stole Anti-Real's logo. And I say they not to sit there and assume plurality here, because I'm going to take Bungie's story at face value that it was just one employee.
Pause for a moment.
Though Joseph Cross.
I legitimately, I understand what Byf is doing here. I feel like he really doesn't want to step on any fingers, because he and he did kind of outline this in the in the Twitter post he had with me. He has a lot of Bungie people that he knows, and he really doesn't like want to assign blame to any one of them. But I feel like he's not willing to come to the idea that like, and assume I know he does not want to assume malice because he still likes this game, and I feel like he still wants opportunities for this game, and I get that, you know.
And yeah,
but,
I agree.
But I feel like inside he probably knows that the story of it being a former employee is probably garbage as well. I feel like he probably knows that from the inside.
All the firings they've been doing.
Like, because here's the thing, chat. With how bad Bungie has been over the last couple of years, basically from the moment I got into it, which really sucks, kind of gonna be honest with you. But like, for how bad it's been, so bad over the last couple of years, it's just like, I feel like everybody, including Byf, is going to just be like a little doomered about this. I know that he's not trying to be because he wants to uplift the community. And that's like a constant theme from him, is he really wants to uplift the community, because if he knows if the community is down, then like the devs that he really likes are also going to feel upset. And I know he doesn't really want that. But by the same token, I feel like there needs to be a little bit of realism in here. And that's what I'm bringing. My realism is I think that it's fucked. I think that it's fucked, and I think that they are lying about it being a former employee because they know that if they, I think they know who it is, and I have I'm obviously not gonna like confirm like without a shadow of a doubt because I don't know, but like I have suspicions of who it is, and we'll kind of talk about that as the video goes through here.
Cross was following Anti-Real for several years.
Okay, so he just mentioned it there. To pause it. So Joseph Cross has followed Anti-Real for several years here. Again, like I said earlier. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Have they done anything to like address the situation aside from that statement about the previous employee or whatever? Like, are they gonna remove they're not gonna remove the assets? Not gonna compensate the artist? Any of that?
They said that they were gonna compensate the artist.
Okay, well that's something.
It is something, yes. I suppose. It is really. It's at least nice to know that they said that they're gonna compensate the artist. But again, like if this was a one-time thing, everybody would say that's fucked up and then move on. This is the third to fourth time that they have had plagiarism or just straight theft accusations that are proven to be very easily proven to be true.
And in fact, and Ava would probably correct me on this, but people are thinking that this will actually have something to do with the plagiarism lawsuit going on right now. Is like, wait a second, Bungie is known to do this. Could we be looking at other things too?
Well, I do think that it would be agreeable to say that, like, if you can prove that there is a history of Bungie doing this shit, then the courts would be more willing to side with the individual that's suing them right now. Because, like, if I'm suing Bungie right now as the guy that's suing over the Red War thing, all I got to do is point to this, or have my lawyer point to this and say, they have a history of doing this. This is the fourth time that they are doing this. Are you really going to say that this is not like a pattern of behavior for them? No, of course not. You're not going to say that. That's really dumb. So the court's going to be like, yeah, it does look like a pattern of behavior with these people. And then they're going to side. I feel like, well, I'm not going to say as a definite truth, but they are going to be more willing to side with the person that is suing Bungie than Bungie, because this is a horrible pattern that they have not beaten at all.
But there is more to it than that. And this is where things really start to unpack themselves, because you know what? This is something which is a team situation. Because yes, whilst it is supposedly one bad apple that spoiled the barrel, they still spoiled the barrel. And inevitably, their work, which was all stolen, would have made it across Joe Cross's desk. That is damning all in itself.
I can pause.
And it's frustrating to...
He brings up again another good point. Joe Cross, the guy that follows Anti-Real, should have seen this come across his desk. Should have seen it come across his desk when all of this was going on. And I'm not going to pull the whole, he should know what everybody tweets. I know he follows like over 500 people or some shit like that. It's kind of hard to see everything that's going on your Twitter feed at some time. But I am of the belief that if he saw this, there is a decent chance that if he follows Anti-Real and Anti-Real posts different images every single day, there has to be a chance where he's like, oh, that looks a little bit familiar, in my personal opinion. And hey, I could be really wrong, which is why I'm not going to say that he's guilty. I'm always going to say that it's a legend that we don't actually know what went on. There is a chance that he did not pay attention to his Twitter feed at all, and he just followed random people to follow random people. With that being said, I do feel like it's extremely sketch that he did not notice this from the get.
Yep.
Considering that Anti-Real's portfolio and a lot of the stolen works date all the way back to 2017, that this stuff could have been floating around the studio for who knows how long.
That's 8 years, chat.
Floating around.
8 years of this stuff floating around.
Yeah, someone should have noticed something in that time period. Which is why this is...
Again, it's like, is this extreme incompetence or is it maliciousness? Either way, listen, I am always of the opinion...
a combination of both.
Well, I am of the opinion that it doesn't matter either way. Either way, the company should be fucked for doing it. In my personal opinion, you're fucked for doing this, and this deserves the utmost scrutiny from people.
Here's what's funny, is I forget it was last year, but the CEO of Sony was going around their PlayStation studios basically saying, hey, you're doing good, keep doing it. And then went to Bungie and said, what the fuck is wrong with you? Literally. He literally went, the fuck is wrong with you?
About
do better.
About anything particular, or just the studio as a whole?
The studio as a whole. He went to leadership and is like, what are you doing? I think Bungie was one of the only studios that he actively was shitting on because of their incompetence.
It has been 3 instances in which outsourcing agents have plagiarized community material.
I will say that the some of the times that this happened, it wasn't actually directly by Bungie. It was by companies that worked with Bungie. Still doesn't make it any better. It really doesn't make it any better.
People are bringing up Yokai specifically in my chat saying makes it 6. It was one in Destiny 1. That was Destiny 1 had 2 other studios working with it. I forget who they were, but Bungie wasn't the only studio working on Destiny at the time.
Any goodwill that Marathon had garnered within the core gaming community has quickly gone out the window of the 37-story building.
Very funny way to put it.
The matter, again on Twitter as of me recording this, has been seen over 10 million times. 10 million. That is a kind of gaming marketing that you do not generally see. And all of it was for free, and all of it was bad press. The wider gaming community is now very well aware, and to say that nobody is impressed is also a gross understatement. This, I think, was summarized pretty well on the Bungie livestream that happened literally a day or so after the controversy went live, where Joe Ziegler and Joseph Cross were joined by various other devs, and they came along to apologize with regards to this incident. Now, credit to Joe Cross and the entire Bungie team for wanting to address this at the very top of the stream, but I think that there needs to be more to this, because much like a lot of the people on the internet are saying, it seems very clear that the correct thing to confirm right away is not just to simply say that all of this will be investigated and that the results of that investigation will be made public and changes will be made to
Yep.
Just look at how tired they are, man. Especially the guy that's put his head down. Like, I definitely wouldn't want to get on screen and talk about this.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want to get up there and talk about this.
I'm admittedly glad they are, though.
I'm glad that they are, but oh.
Yeah, but they sent these 2 out to die.
I mean, one of them's the art director. One of them's the art director.
One of them's the art director, and one of them's the game director.
Yeah. No, they were sent out to just be beaten by the community for a bit, and just let them work out their frustrations on a couple of the devs, and that's kind of unfortunate. Honestly, I feel a little bad for these guys, but at the end of the day, Bungie did end up earning this vitriol they're dealing with now
they absolutely earned it
by not being more diligent with this sort of thing. So, it is what it is, I suppose.
Rectify things, but it's also simply to say, yes, we will compensate Anti-Real for her stolen work.
From the reports, the person to the right, so I'm guessing that's Joe Cross.
I think so.
Did not sleep for the day prior, since he's been up for more than 24 hours.
Oh, I've been up for more than 24 hours. That shit is rough, especially.
I have too.
I have too.
Once you're up that long, and then you get to read the vitriol within chat,
I'd be pissed off.
Oh, and I actually heard, the audio issues, man. I was there for a little bit of the stream. Like I was just listening to Asmon react to it or whatever. And yeah, there was a few good instances in there where just audio doubled up. And it happened several times throughout. And I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it was rough, man. It was not great.
It was bad.
It was not good at all. Oh my God.
To the value of that is a different question. But to say that you will do it, to commit to it, is what's very important about this. Many members of the core Bungie community were still far from impressed, and one of the most written slogans within that stream was simply, "Plagiarism will make me God." A play on one of the key marketing phrases for Marathon, which is "Escape will make me God." Oh my God, this was just painful.
I'll be honest, they kind of deserve
not
it.
just watching the chat either.
They do, which is not every dev deserves it. I think there are definitely some genuine devs within Bungie who just want to make game.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in the crossfire. Doesn't help that these two are going to get a lot of hatred driven at them, and Bungie's essentially use them as a shield. They are meat shields.
Mm-hmm. When you are a developer for something, your job is to answer. Or the lead developer, your job is to answer, and that's what both of their jobs were.
Bungie has burned a ton of goodwill in the process of this controversy, and it sucks, because not only, of course, was Anti-Real's art stolen, and she is the real immediate victim of all this, and should be rightly compensated, but also, if this was the action of a single person, and it doesn't go any wider than that, then I am mad on behalf of the rest of the employees at Bungie too. They are all unfairly getting tarred with the same brush now, because most of them are not in the art department and might not even be working on Marathon. They had nothing to do with this. Bungie is a studio now of about 850 odd people, and if everything about Bungie's story checks out, and it was just this one guy, every single one of them has been tarnished by a single former employee. And you know what? That sucks too. I know we don't have a lot of sympathy for Bungie as a general right now, but I think it's really important to separate the...
Yeah, I understand what he's doing. He's saying, guys, we really should not go after the people that are innocent in this. However, this is not going to come across as that to upset people. And this is an issue that I sometimes have with Byf, where he's like, guys, we need to think of the people that are also kind of hurting in this, and that is the developers. And it's just like, people don't really give a shit about the other developers right now. Everybody's going to be classified under the same hood of a shit game that's been getting shittier and shittier, with a company that seems to care less and less about the player and more about their personal ideals. So nobody really cares about the developers anymore.
The problem is, I understand they're not clarifying who it was because they don't want to, bend the brigade after them. I get it. But at the same time, also not giving us more information makes everyone suspect.
It does.
Yeah,
it really does.
When there's no specified target, people are just gonna scatter shot and blame the whole team.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater, I think is the right term.
Yeah.
Basically, everyone is guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah, but Occo also definitely has a point where it's just like, it's going to come down to the quality of the product for a lot of people, because nobody gives a shit about how hard you work on something. They give a shit about how good that thing is. You could have worked on it for 1,000,000 years or 10 years, whatever. It would be a little more reasonable for game dev. You could have worked on it for like 10 years, right?
Yep.
But if people think it's shit, then you wasted 10 years and no one cares.
Well, I mean,
that's the long and short of it. That's the rough part of it. But that's how it is.
And again, it really just goes back. Like I can't really hammer it home enough, but it's just like, it doesn't matter if you're innocent in this. You still are representing a company that fucked up. And you have to wear that mantle or leave. And I understand it's just like, don't go after these people. Yeah, don't go after these people. But you have to understand there is blame for everybody that everybody's just going to have to eat because they all work for the same company. That's why you have to tighten up your... That's why it's just like, for a while I was like, yes, you can blame the upper Destiny executives. They need to go. I agree. But there reaches a point where I'm looking at the people that are still there and I'm like, so why are you still here? What are you still doing here? What's your overarching goal with this? Like, I know that you have to feed your family. I know you got a job to do, but when are you going to hop off the ship that's very clearly sinking right now? And that was kind of like my complaint when I wrote to Byf on Twitter. I was like, why are you still holding water for this company? Like, I get there's people that you like, but what point are you going to say, I can't support this anymore? I just hope the guys that are in it get out. Because at some point, it turns from me feeling sympathy and me thinking, are you part of the problem? Are you also part of the problem? Because that's genuinely what I'm starting to think right now. Because if you're not willing to shout out any of these people and say, follow these people because these people are innocent, and if you're just going to say, oh, we need to stop putting blame at people, people are going to say, so you're telling me that I'm looking in the right direction, or you're telling me that all of these people are guilty. It doesn't matter what you say. You should not just come out and say, oh, don't bother these people, because that's not what's going to happen. That's going to make people more upset. More people want to attack them, and that's only going to continue the cycle. I think it is also important to note that most people really don't give a shit about game devs after everything that's been happening over the past decade. The idea of supporting game developers has gone massively downhill because all we've had for the past decade is game developers telling us that our opinions are shit, that we don't matter as a game demographic. So, and this is something that just came to my mind. It really doesn't matter if Byf is going to sit here and say, please think of the developers. Well, I'm not really going to think about the developer because over the last decade, all of these developers have told me I'm a shit person. I have shit ideals. I am a shitty person. So no, I really don't give a shit about a lot of these people because they think I'm shit too.
It's just the problem of like, Akko's right. How can you treat people the same way when if you don't have a one-to-one with their ideals, you are the shit person?
So it's just like, yeah, I feel for some of these people. The buck really, or not really the buck, but the feeling really stops there. I really, like if some of these people lose their, like the problem is, I know that some of these people probably think I as a gamer am a shitty person, so it's like, I don't really give a shit about them. They're part of a shitty company, and some of them are probably shitty people, so I don't care. If they lose their jobs, go ahead.
Has Bungie been doing a lot of like the pandering stuff?
Yes, they do a lot of the pandering. In their most recent expansion, they have a very openly like transgender robot character.
And
I feel like I've seen this actually now that you mention it.
And their first post Final Shape campaign is literally a gay love story between 2 gay women and 2 gay men.
So, like, I am sorry, not sorry, but I have little sympathy for very many of these people right now because they have not been shown to exactly have deserved that sympathy. And I don't care how cruel that sounds, but I am sorry, Byf. None of these people really are deserving of my pity for them. Just none of them, really. I just don't care. Okay. I legitimately could not give less of a fuck about these people.
Because as far as like gay or trans characters go, I don't necessarily care unless they're being obnoxious about it in the way like, you know, like some games and companies have been. Like if you're doing like a veil guard with it or some shit, it's like, no.
I would very much say that Destiny has entered its avowed veil guard.
Well, okay, gotcha. Like, fair enough. There we go then.
Essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would say that's accurate.
The case of point with the 2 male gay characters, when they were originally written, they were battle brothers.
And then they just made them gay.
They just made them gay for each other.
Well, all right then. And it's, man, that feels like it's leaning into like the Fujo thing, right? Where it's like anytime they see a couple of dudes like being bros, like there's always got to be some sort of gay aspect to it. Like we can't just have male camaraderie anymore without it being like sexual in some way, right?
No, yeah.
And that's really disappointing, man, because like dudes really need that sort of thing nowadays. Like they need to see that like male friendship can just be that like band of brothers type shit, right? I feel like we don't get nearly enough of that anymore.
It reminded me, and I know another one of my friends actually would agree with this, at least back then. It was kind of like Master Chief and the Arbiter.
Exactly. Absolutely. 100%. I'd love to see more stuff like that. And it's like, I just, this weird Fujo thing where it's like, if 2 dudes are even standing next to each other and like smile at each other, like, oh, would that, are they gonna kiss? I would really like it if they kiss. Please make them kiss. Make them kiss, you know, etc.
And that was the problem I had when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out, and you have some people in the Gold Saucer. You have multiple guys, you know, together. And people are like, oh my god, they're pandering because they're gay for each other. It's two guys looking at each other in the same room in a casino. Chill out.
It's a little different. That's a little different, my personal opinion. Anyway, I don't care about these devs. Again, it's very sad of me to say, but the only reason why I say that now is because none of these devs have really proven that they deserve me to care about them as a consumer. As a consumer, I just look at them and say, I really don't care what happens to you. You said fuck you to me, I'm going to say fuck you to you and see who loses first. And it sounds like you're losing first.
From young, my boy thinks that devs nowadays can write competent and compelling gay or trans characters. Remember when they were mad that a dude from Final Fantasy 16 wasn't gay enough? That's right. The gay guy from Final Fantasy 16.
Wait, there's a gay guy in 16?
There is. And he is not only one of the biggest badasses in the game, he is the host of Bahamut and kicks so much ass.
Wait.
Yeah, he's fucking sick. He's great.
I think I beat Bahamut already. Wait, really?
Yeah, the prince of the...
Oh, never mind. I haven't beat him yet. Wait, he's gay?
Yeah, the Dragoon. Yeah, he's gay.
Oh.
They don't shove it down your face either.
I'm kind of glad they're
going.
going.
They have a couple times.
Yeah, they have a couple of moments where, like, you know, he's with his little boyfriend and they maybe kiss once or something. And it's like, it's not obnoxious, right? It's just, it's part of the story. It's part of his...
Chad, I didn't get that far,
motivation as a character. Yeah. Sorry. My bad.
No, I didn't get that far, but it's fair. I mean, I'll go back to it eventually.
It just plays into his character motivations and it lets you know a little more about him. But like, it's not. Yeah, it's not like an overbearing, like trying to like make you give a shit. It lets you give a shit naturally instead of trying to make you give a shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is done well enough that I don't care, and it's actually fairly well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Okay,
absolutely
fair
agree.
Enough. Continue.
Than it already was. It's at this point that the response to all of this is really up for discussion, and I've seen plenty of people say the game should just be cancelled and that
I agree.
Everyone should just go back to the drawing board and maybe go on and make Destiny 3.
No, I don't think that should happen. I think Bungie needs to be shut down completely. I think Bungie needs to be closed and all of the devs need to find new jobs because it's clear they failed. That's what I think.
I mean, but he is right, though. Like, in the state of this now, they might be better off going back to the drawing board instead of releasing it in the state it's in.
Now, the question is whether or not that would be acceptable. The answer is very clearly no, because of how much time, effort, and money Sony has put into this. No, they would not be allowed to go back to the drawing board for this. They would be told, shape up or shut up, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There are 800 plus jobs at stake at Bungie, as well as countless contractors that work with them.
Yeah, I think a lot of
on
these people were
day-to-day
shit with their
basis.
jobs.
Canceling
Sorry.
a game that's had as much investment into it as Marathon is simply not an option. If you cancel Marathon, at bare minimum, there will be a ton of layoffs.
And I'm fine with that.
That is it. It is as simple as that. And if you are sitting there and you are cynical enough to call for people to just cancel the project entirely, then you need to reassess whether it would be different if it was your job on the line. And that is what you are asking for when you say cancel this game.
I'm fine with it dying. I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't care.
The fact that plagiarism helped build Marathon is disgusting.
The plagiarism added to that.
It is also...
I'm sorry. I'm just like giving these snide comments, but like, yeah, I feel like it deserves to die.
Yeah, no,
There's enough shit.
Dead.
Yes, I do want the game to die. I feel like the game does not deserve to live anymore. I feel the game, not real people. YouTube.
Yeah.
I feel like the mismanagement is so bad that I don't think they can make a good game. I think that legitimately they have fucked up. Thank you for the 5.
Yeah, and it's like I also think of just the whole thing where they're essentially like babying the players, like the whole bit with what's it called, the mic thing, where they're not gonna let people. Like,
yeah, there's no proximity chat.
Right? Because like I didn't really consider it because I've never been one to play like Escape from Tarkov or any of the other extraction shooter. Whatever
yeah, most people really don't care about that, but some people do. And the fact that they're like, yeah, we're not going to include it because toxicity is just like, okay, fuck you. Fuck you.
Like, I think of some other content creators who have talked about this, such as Legendary Drops and like one other guy whose name escapes me. But I think of like the stories that they gave of like dealing with a proximity chat in that kind of scenario where it's like, oh, maybe you meet another character and it becomes like a sort of standoff that might lead to a negotiation. Maybe you bluff. Maybe you like you essentially you get into the moment and you kind of play a character, right, as you're doing your thing.
Great
in this scenario, and it's like that sounds awesome. That sounds amazing. Why the fuck did you deprive people of that?
Yeah,
there's a great example of this. Sea of Thieves.
Oh, I agree. Sea of Thieves is fantastic for that.
And there you go. Yeah. And it's like you're going to deprive people of that just because you're afraid somebody might get offended because somebody else might say a slur or something. It's like, I mean, you could tell your players to not be pussies about it. That's an option too, right? And it's like, here's the thing, right? As always, there's already a solution to this problem, and there always has been. It's called the goddamn mute button. If you don't want to engage with this mechanic, then just mute it. And don't deprive literally everyone of it, right? Just give somebody an option to not engage with it if they don't want to. But like this solution that we're going to these days, where it's like just get rid of it entirely, just take the toy away from everyone because some people might not want it. Well, some people do want the fucking toys. So for some people, that's a value proposition, right? That might be the thing that makes them buy the game.
Yeah,
for all you fucking know. Like Jesus Christ, just.
Sea of Thieves is toxic but fun. Yes, it is. Hello, Shiroi.
But like, I mean, some people have fun in the toxicity, right? I mean, like that's just it. Some people have fun trolling. Some people enjoy being trolled to some extent. You know, if they're doing it for the content or whatever, right? But let's like give people the option. Don't take away options. Give more options so that everyone can be satisfied by making their own choices on the matter.
If you're looking for a response beyond the typical vitriol and the nonsense that happens on the internet, you can't just simply hit the cancel button and expect that there will be no consequences.
Oh, I don't care about the consequences. That's the thing. I want there to be consequences. I think that everybody at Bungie needs to understand that they made a shit product and that they've been trying to forward a shit company for multiple years at this point. The people that actually made Bungie a special thing is all gone, or for the most part gone, or dead, or have trooned out in some way, shape, or form. Excuse me. But it's just like, I don't care.
For political opinions.
Or exactly.
Salvatore.
Exactly. I don't care about Bungie anymore. Bungie needs to burn down to the ground and be rebuilt like a phoenix. Or maybe it just needs to stay down and not come back. I don't care if Bungie dies as a company. I don't care.
Right in a playground because one kid got hurt on it. That's what the proximity chat situation is. Exactly.
Yeah. So, what Occo's saying is harsh, but I do believe it does need to happen at this point because we've been in an industry, at least here on the Western side, where mediocrity hasn't been like harshly punished, right? And at the end of the day, it's still a business. You're making a product, and if you're bad at making the product, then you should go away. Fucking lose your you should lose your job, right? Yeah. Like that's how this shit usually works. If you make a bad product and people don't buy it, then you fail. And that's what should happen, like expeditiously, to the people who fail so spectacularly as, say, the Concord devs, the fucking Veilguard devs, the Avowed devs, like everybody whose games ate hard shit, the fucking Dustborn devs, etc. Right? Like governments shouldn't be bailing you out. Fucking BlackRock or whoever shouldn't be bailing you out. You should eat shit if you make shit, right? Take that shit you just made and eat it. Because that's what you deserve.
We're not weird people like that, chat. But I do agree. They should be. Well, they should have to eat the shit that they made.
There is a reason why such games like Lair Obscure is doing well. They didn't pander. They made something they wanted to make.
Yeah.
Not.
Yes. And it's like you think about it, it's like most of the party that you play with, I don't know if either of you've played Expedition 33 yet. If not, you should both get yourself a copy of it.
I would love to. I just don't have the time to devote to it. It's just one of those games that I don't feel like I'd enjoy.
It was one of those games I was waiting until I finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to do, and then Doom came out, and then...
yeah.
So, it is
I'm going to tell you both, it is absolutely worth your time.
Oh, I've heard it is.
If you can figure out some way to play it, because like I'm telling you, this is like game of a decade, right? Like this game is incredible.
I know.
I believe it. And I think of the fact that like most of your party in the game is female, right? But none of the female characters are annoying and bitchy and awful, right? They're all great characters.
I heard they look nice too.
Interactions with each other, yeah, and they look nice. That too, right? They're all cute. So you know, it's like it's really that easy. You know, you make characters cute and you make them friendly and likable, and you know, there you go. Bob's your uncle. Done.
Tapeworm is very correct. Bungie being in Washington attracts awful devs. We know the types. Yeah. When you are a studio, and I don't want to be that person, but when you are a studio in a highly, I'm going to say Karen built
Because let me tell you, I'm pretty sure that a ton of people at Bungie are equally disgusted that plagiarism went on behind the scenes. And yeah, they're the ones who can both be disgusted and will also suffer for it. So
they should
no,
suffer. Some of these people should suffer, definitely. And I'm not going to say all of them do, but some of these people definitely should suffer for how bad mistakes they've made.
I will give benefit of the doubt to one person.
One person.
And it is the creative, or is the game director for Destiny 2. And the reason for that is because he actively avoids social media. So if something like this were to happen on his watch and he didn't know about it because he doesn't use social media, I wouldn't exactly blame him.
Is he overly political?
No. Well, at least if he is, he doesn't post about it because he literally does not use social media.
Okay, I'll give him a pass, but like legitimately, my take is most people should know to have escaped this company a long time ago.
Oh, absolutely.
Alone in this boat, Bungie's population of developers is probably also disgusted and frustrated at it. Because you know what? They're also creatives. They have a lot more in common with Anti-Real than I think a lot of us are willing to admit. This
is the argument of, oh, you can't be mad at them. They're all mad as well. Look at them wagging their fingers as well. They're not happy that all this is going on. I was like, I don't care. I don't care. You telling me I'm not allowed to lash out to some of these people that think I'm a bigot and a horrible person because they're also upset? I don't care.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Smart people already left. Yeah. Seems to be a common trend among these Western devs that are, essentially taking the piss and have been for the last 5 years or so, right? A lot of those devs just see the writing on the wall immediately and they get the fuck out.
I agree.
And it's funny,
get rid of the rot. Smart people left. They did. They did. And
I bring up Expedition 33 again because I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the interviews with the head developer.
They're former Ubisoft devs who just got bored at Ubisoft.
Yep. I love that.
And knew that if they pitched something like Expedition 33, it would have never gotten made at Ubisoft. They're like, the writers I'll make my own studio with black.
The writers are from Reddit.
Yeah, that is like, here's the thing, right? Because Expedition 33 was built off of what should be happening right now, which is the good devs going off and doing their own thing. But it is also in part straight up a miracle, right? They got their fucking like the music in this game, by the way, is goddamn incredible.
Oh, it definitely
and they got
is.
8 hours worth of this shit, and they got the composer off a goddamn SoundCloud, right? Like,
I mean, it is.
And they got the writer off of Reddit, like.
It is proof to the fact that you can find people in crazy places. Like the artist who did my model Ari, I found him on Reddit begging people. Well, not beg. I mean, like, quote unquote begging, because like people that go on Hungry Artists, they are asking people for commissions, and it's just like, I found Ari on Reddit asking people for commissions, and he wasn't really that prominent on Twitter. He had done some commissions, but he was like a brand new artist, basically. And I think about it a lot. It's like, if I didn't go there and I didn't find him, where would he and I both be? Like, I definitely don't know who I would have gone to for a model that I want, and he's like the guy for me right now. So like, don't be afraid to go to Reddit. I mean, like, do be afraid because it's Reddit, but by the same token,
bad eggs on Reddit, but there's also not.
By the same token, but like by the same token, don't be afraid to search in weird places for people. Because if Obscura 33 can be made off of people who just found each other on obscure websites, you can literally make a masterpiece if you find the right people.
Like, it is a game made by bored, obscure, and wildly different people.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, this game is probably going to win Game of the Year.
Yeah. Also very French people, and like unapologetically French people. Like, the game is so fucking French, but I honestly love it for that. Like, this shit is great because they realize. And like fucking like Pat and Wooly put this perfectly, right? They realize how fucking goofy some of this French shit is, and they absolutely just play into that. They lean into it, right? They're not afraid to not take themselves seriously, right? Mm-hmm. And it's great for the humor of the game. Like, I've had some really great laughs just playing this game and interacting with some of the characters they made. They're just like so incredibly lovable and so fucking stupid at the same time, right?
Exactly.
And that's what you kind of want in the games like this.
It's been fantastic. Yeah, and it's just been genuinely enjoyable, and that's the thing, right? That's the thing that you need to be aiming for at any given time as a developer of a video game. That, like, the point is entertainment. And if you're developing video games, the point should be entertainment. Like, I don't know what kind, it can be any kind of entertainment. It can go all kinds of different flavors. But the entertainment is what is important. And being genuinely entertaining, that should always be your #1 priority. Any kind of message or agenda or any of that shit, be entertaining.
And some people are like, well, even if the game doesn't come out like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, if it does, great. But if you have fun with it as an indie game, cool.
Absolutely.
Claire Obscure was made with scraps in a cave and was deemed Game of the Year by the Shift Up CEO. Really?
I kind of feel like it should be Game of the Year. I kind of feel like it should.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't even play it because I don't like the genre, but it deserves Game of the Year, in my personal opinion.
And here's the thing, right? Because like, also don't be afraid to experiment with crazy shit. Like AAA games, they don't like to experiment anymore, right? They get scared. They think it's like, oh man, what if it doesn't have broad appeal, right? Because we try something new and weird and different. Maybe people won't like it. But here's the thing, right? Expedition 33, they just threw fucking everything in and just said like, fuck it, it's awesome, right? Like the head dev, right? People recently discovered this motherfucker has a YouTube channel where he just does no-hit runs of Devil May Cry games, and he's really good at them. And that's one of his main influences for this game, right? And in the game, there's a character, like every character in the game has like a specific gimmick to how they do their turn-based battle, right? And one of them has a gimmick called Perfection. And it's literally just a Devil May Cry style meter in a turn-based fucking game. It's like, how does this work? I don't know, but it does. It's actually really fucking good. It's super good, man.
Absolutely.
I love this character and how he plays, right? Like, it's the crazy shit like that. But it's like, if you don't experiment, then you don't discover that shit can actually synergize really nicely and be a hell of a lot of fun to play and fuck around with. It's
absolutely.
Like, I can't stop singing this game's praise. I know I'm glazing. I know I'm
No, you're allowed to. It's a good game.
This game deserves to have its dick fucking sucked. All right, I'm just gonna say that right now. No.
Well, okay, we'll stop you there. It's a Frenchie, and I'm only okay with a couple of French people. All right.
Fair enough. Oui.
If Bungie were to shut down, and the good devs were fired and thrown to the wayside, they'd be picked up by maybe even like Sandland. Or not Sandland, Sandfall Interactive, the devs behind Claire Obscure, or by other devs, like smaller these devs, because they see the value in the devs that are just, worth their talent.
I think what we're starting to see is these big corporations that have a lot of developers, they're going to fold, and these developers that are actually going to be good are going to metastasize together and become their own little dev studios. And what we're going to see is we're going to see less AAA games and more AA games by people that actually gave a shit. So what we're actually seeing is like we're seeing a market crash. Kind of a funny way of saying it. We're seeing a market crash of developers, which is okay. Because when you have too many of one thing, you're going to have shit. And so we need to get rid of some of these developers because some of them don't matter and some of them suck. Absolutely. And I'm okay saying that. Some of them legitimately just suck. They don't know how to make good games. They don't know how to do shit. And they try to pretend that they do and they get mad at you when you say they don't. So I am fine with losing. Sorry, my apologies. I'll finish up here real quick. I am fine with losing game companies if the people that actually matter are like, okay, I'm passionate about this to the point where I'm going to go do it myself with blackjack and hookers, and I'm going to build something that's absolutely amazing. And then a couple years down the line, we're going to get it, and it's going to be like, man, this makes me so happy that I'm basically playing Halo CE again, because it's by the guy that actually gave a shit.
Exactly. And there's some great examples of this. Like, if I mentioned it before, but I would love to see some former Bungie devs go on and make like what could be the next like iteration of Destiny, a new take on Anthem, even joining like using their talents and joining teams like Saber Interactive with Space Marine 2, or joining DE and making Warframe better.
I don't know what they would lend to Warframe, but like if they only get out the good devs. You understand my example. No, I know you're an example. I just I'm kind of iffy on them touching Warframe. Granted, I don't think that they would break Warframe because I feel like the people that would break Warframe are in charge and they wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
I think Warframe's just fine.
There you go.
But that's the case in point is like good devs.
Good devs go to good places eventually.
Yeah, and it's like you definitely have a massive point about the whole like too many cooks in the kitchen tends to spoil the broth, because that's like one of the central issues of AAA gaming these days. And again, God, I feel like a broken fucking record here, but I think again about Claire Obscure, and like put that up against like Shadows, right? Because they both had a thing in which like both teams ended up having some what do you call them, some fucking Ubisoft veterans, right? Veteran game devs, and they also had some people who were completely new to game dev, right? The difference being on Ubisoft side, where they had like 800 people or whatever, like those people are essentially just cogs, right? They give them a simple task and then they have them just fucking do that over and over again, and it's essentially like the same shit I do working goddamn conveyor belts in the warehouse I work in, right? Just fucking grunt work.
Yep.
Whereas I believe with a team of only 33 for Claire Obscure, those devs had to become apprentices to masters, which were the previous Ubisoft devs, the ones who made the good games from back when, right? And those people probably learned how to do all kinds of crazy good shit, and that's how you get a crazy good game like an Expedition 33, because these devs are actually taught things.
I'm going to use another great example to bounce off of that. Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, Baldur's Gate 3 is a great example.
Larian is such a small studio. And you know why they made it? Because they wanted to do something with D&D and had a passion for what they did. And not only that, but you commonly see the CEO coming out on stage, these big corporate events, and saying, "You're wrong. You're an idiot. Get your shit together."
I wish we had more people that could do that, or that would do that, excuse me.
No. Svenvink has some balls on him.
We need more people that just come out and say, listen, this is how things should be done. You need to appease your audiences and stop like getting upset at like I just love a lot of these developers that are coming out and like no balls just saying make a good shit or get the fuck away. Like I love people that do that. Those are the people that I want to give all my money to.
Yeah, people who would just be genuine and make something that they wanted to make and put their actual heart into it, right?
Yep. Exactly. Like I've already said, like the next game Larian does, I'll be there day one. I don't care if it's early access, because they've earned that respect.
Yep. Same with me and Sandfall. Yep. And with the guys who did Lords of the Fallen, right? Because those guys are just like, their whole thing is, all right, we're going to ask the audience what they actually want from us, and then we're going to buckle down and we're going to provide it to them. And I recently played the... oh, sorry, go ahead.
Can you repeat at least the name of the studio? My headset just had a heart attack and I didn't get to hear the studio name.
I don't think I said it because I, again, don't.
Oh, okay.
I'm so bad with names. I'm so fucking bad with names.
Did you say somebody knows?
Lords of the Fallen.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Lords.
CI Games.
What is it? What was it?
Yep. CI Games.
CI Games. Yeah. So because I recently jumped in, like me and Rosa together jumped in on the 2.0, like the updated version of the new Lords of the Fallen, and like that game actually managed to hook us in a way it just did not, because we played it on release and it's like not feeling this, but then like we come back a few months later after they've done update after update after update, and then this big 2.0 thing, and it's like, yeah, this is great, this actually feels a lot better now. It feels like they really put the work in, right? And it's like this whole time they've just been asking people, okay, how do we make it better? How do we include the things that you want? How do we make you guys love this game the way we love working on it, right? And they just buckled down and got it done, and they kept the audience and the player first in their mind, and it's like, that's it, that's all it takes. It's so simple, and it's such a beautiful thing when like there's an actual like good relationship between developers and players, right?
That's why I love Warframe so much.
To accomplish that.
Yeah, I mean,
like they caught their flack because they, there's like, hey, they dared to ask players, oh, would you like body type A and B, or would you like male and female? Of course, the overwhelming fucking answer was male and female, and so they just straight up changed it because that's what the vast majority of the audience.
And not only that,
and they got called fucking fascists for it, for holding a democratic election and then going with the higher voted option. They got called fascists. It's like, these motherfuckers.
And not only that, they already said they're going back to all their older games and just updating that because clearly they see what people want.
Yeah, but like it's like they've gotten the sense like, yeah, no, these people who have been bitching at us about these sort of things, they're retarded. because they throw like accusations at us that make no fucking sense. And if they were to actually look at definitions of things for even a second, they'd realize they make no fucking sense. But they're just like regurgitating shit they read on goddamn Kotaku or whatever, right? Like these people are morons. Let's go with the people who are actually going to pay us money to make a good, enjoyable, like genuine game. Right.
Exactly.
And I feel like more and more devs are starting to wake up to. They're
Thankfully.
waking up to justice. All right, to put it in Devil May Cry terms, they're waking up to justice, and I love it.
I really agree. And again, I will say that like Warframe has in the past, like, I know, have some small gaps here and here in there, but I feel like they're a great example of just like they see what the player base wants and then they just give it to them. I remember one bug that they actually like just left. I mean, like, Warframe is known as the game of just like, if it's a bug and the fans like it, we'll keep it in there. One of the best examples is how we got bullet jumping. Bullet jumping is a really silly little.
I remember the story about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great story of just like, oh, one of the best ways of traversing in the game was a bug, and like another bug that they implemented recently with the motorcycle in 1999 is the motorcycle used to only be summonable in open world stuff and in 1999 levels. But a lot of people found out that there's a bug where you could summon it in all of the levels, and the people were just like, "Can we keep this?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So I love it when companies actually pay attention and listen, because it shows that they actually, one, want to make money, and two, that they're willing to do what the audience wants. And I don't consider that pandering. I just consider that having a good product. You know?
Exactly.
Just playing to what the majority, because like you're never gonna please everybody, but you know you can figure out very easily. There's so many avenues to just ask your audience what they want and like figure out what the majority opinion is. I mean, and then just run with that, right?
I know people are gonna be mad at me for this example,
within reason.
But the reason why Helldivers 2 succeeded when it came out was they flat out said, "You can't please everyone. We're gonna make a game that for the people that like this, though."
Yeah. And there you go.
Right.
And unfortunately, Bungie is not any of that anymore.
No.
I think that's the grand point that we were working back to.
It's such a crazy thing, right? Because like you think of entertainment industries and what that means, right? The whole point is to, give the people what they want. That's all entertainment really is at the end of the day. It's like, obviously, you try and make your own thing, like use your own creativity to craft something, but you still, like, the best things will keep in mind something that they believe will actually interest people, right? And then from there, you maybe, and especially in like with games these days, right, where we live in a world where like games can be like altered on an ongoing basis, right? You get people's like sense of what you're putting out there, you see with their opinions on it, and then you can kind of adjust your course as needed, and then you figure out what's going to be the best for you, for them, and you find that middle ground and you just make it work.
I agree.
I've seen some people say that the time of a delay could be used to completely rewrite the visual aesthetic of the game, and I'm going to be real, I'm not a game developer, but I'm pretty sure that is asking for the impossible. Not only is it something that you can't just whip up out of nowhere within a few hours on Photoshop, but it also requires deciding on a new cohesive direction for the entirety of the game's aesthetic. That is a long development process, something that genuinely takes years of exploration and development. Whilst a lot of the design aesthetic feels like it's very similar to Anti-Real's work, again, I would note that the aesthetic themes in New Marathon are based in pre-existing genres like graphic realism, and again, that predates Anti-Real's work. So no, I don't think Marathon should completely abandon the aesthetic, although I understand why that argument is being made. However, the aesthetic is genuinely not Anti-Real's alone, it is a sub-kind of art. And whilst I understand the frustration, it is certainly not fair to sit there and say they should rewrite the entire...
I see what he's saying, but regardless, it is still tainted by what Bungie did. So even if they don't... I feel like not replacing it would still leave the taint of this game. How much, like, legitimately, you can look at the game now, and because they basically aped an entire artist's stuff, doesn't matter if they already had designed on this design in the past. The question is always going to remain: is this a copy of somebody else's work? Is this somebody else's work that they took from? And that's going to follow the game forever.
That's the thing about trust. It's hard to build, but very easy to shatter.
And the fact that they've done this so many times, that trust is literally shattered and will be nigh impossible to recover. I'm sorry, real quick. It would take literally, and Occo will have this the best. Know this the best. Every Destiny expansion, every release from Bungie, period, going forward, would be of the same quality that we would expect from like Forsaken, Witch Queen, Final Shape.
Period. And I don't think it's going to be that way. I really don't think it's going to be that way because all the people that made it that good are gone.
Exactly. But it would take non-stop several releases that are to that quality, and they're never going to do that again.
I don't know how bad it really is going to be because we can't judge how much this is going to affect sales. But honestly, at this moment in time, based on feeling and value judgments from that alone, it seems as though Marathon needs the Realm Reborn Final Fantasy XIV treatment.
That ain't gonna happen.
They need a moment where they can sit down with the community.
I understand what he's saying though, and I
do too.
I think if they did that, hand it off to an entirely new dev team, like what 14 did, maybe. But
no, I get what you mean.
Firings they've had, with how many, the shitstorm after shitstorm, does it need that? Sure. Could that fix the game? Sure. Could that help people regain trust in Bungie?
Yes.
Sure. None of it's gonna happen.
No. Absolutely not. They're too deep with what they have already. It's not going to happen.
Oh, unfortunate. And this game really might be their last chance, so...
Exactly.
That's what people looked at it. I looked at Marathon as for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. If this does not succeed, Bungie does not even have a game to pull a Realm Reborn with. They do. And no one will like what I say this with. It's Destiny 3. They would have to pull gold out of their ass with a Destiny release. Do it. Because it's not going to be Marathon. It would only be Destiny that would save them.
Yeah, that'd still be a very tough sell, though.
From the old perception and try and chart a new course. But there's more to this. Because as a creator who has worked with Bungie regularly, and as a person who has covered their games for the last 10 years...
By the way, that's the bias that I see against Byf right now.
I'm so tired. Unforced errors are nothing new to Bungie, but it feels like we have been relearning the same lessons for a decade now. There's always something ridiculous.
Yeah, Byf, that's why I have no confidence in them.
The studio gets tarred by the stupidity of a few people. At this moment in time, there is one truth that I can say across every single one of these recordings, though, none of which will make it into the video except maybe this one. I'm tired. I'm so tired of all this.
Then start finding another game to play.
Because we've all suffered through this nonsense. Not just people in the community who sit
Start
there
a
and
podcast.
Have to endure the embarrassment of playing
I Was by Destiny podcast.
This community in general.
Actually, that's probably already a podcast that exists, but not about a video game.
Yeah.
Christ, Occo.
I'm sorry. Not really, though.
I get where he's coming from, but that's also as someone that's...
I liked the suggestion to find another game to play. You know.
Yeah.
Another game like Claire Obscure Expedition 33, man. Sorry. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Resist.
You're good.
I get where he's coming from, though, because I've been here. I'm exactly where he is right now.
Except you stepped away from the abusive woman whose name is Destiny.
I always wanted to give the benefit of the doubt because
you started with this game. Weren't you in the beta for this game?
Yeah, well, for Destiny, not Marathon, but yes.
Yeah. But you've been with Bungie since day one, basically.
Yeah, not since Halo day one.
Well, no.
Since Destiny day one.
It's kind of funny, though, because like when you said the by Destiny bit, I kind of got confused. Like, is she talking about the content creator or the game right now?
I mean, technically, it could go either. Listen, it could go either way, and the joke would still be just as good. You know it would be. That's part of the reason why I made it, is because I knew that it could go either way, and it would be just as funny for everybody.
For our head like an embarrassment. I am sick and tired for the people who work at Bungie, who have done nothing but create great works in the gaming space their entire career, who are tarred by brushes like this, and who have to sit through all of this and just pretend that it's all going to be okay. When they
shouldn't pretend. They should be realists.
Workmates have been laid off, when they understand that they could be next. Bungie needs a real captain of the ship.
They should legitimately think that, yes.
Who's going to tighten
I think
things
these.
They need someone who's going to help them take accountability.
I think these people are dumb for not being realists.
No one, as best I can see, Because if they had someone, this wouldn't have happened. Whoever that captain is supposed to be, I hope they step up soon.
There is no captain. These people are going to stay
together in their own hands. I've heard horror stories about the amount of stuff that people have had to do moving mountains in order to make things work. I have seen the amount of passion that they've put into the game, and there are personal stories I am not going to recite here. To put it really bluntly, they deserve better than this. And to all those who are responsible for theft from Anti-Real, for all those who made this mess, for everyone who has put everyone's jobs in jeopardy, I hope it was worth it. You useless, spineless thief.
No, call him a bitch.
You can catch me back with regular content. I will be back at some point soon.
Because the captain now? No. If I was the captain, I'd tell him you're shutting down.
This in the morning.
If I was the captain, Bungie would shut down completely. I'd say you guys got to start over. You fucked up too much. Getting rid of everybody. The players deserve better. Yes, the players did deserve better. Listen, I would have more... My vitriol comes exclusively from the fact that game devs have been shitheels for the longest time, so I do not give a single damn thing about them. Okay? Their job was to give the consumer what they wanted, and they said, no, we're going to give you what we think you want. And it's just like, okay, I don't care about you no more. And then they get mad when we don't buy their game. It's just like, oh, you didn't care about me? I really don't give a shit about you.